Alright guys, today we're going to be doing one of the most requested videos on the channel, and that is a bike check. So now we're going to talk about how I upgraded my beginner hardtail to a hardtail beast for under $500. Okay, so before we go into what the bike is like now, we're going to go through what it was like when I originally got it. It came with a SR Suntour XTR coil sprung fork, a Shimano Alivio/Akira non-clutched drivetrain 3x8, and then Shimano MT200 mechanical disc brakes. These are all really good parts for a beginner mountain biker, but I only switched out of them and upgraded them because, well, let's just say I grew out of them. So we're going to start at the front of the bike and then go to the back of the bike. So starting at the very front of the bike, this front tire came in stock. I've had it on the whole time. It's a ground control sport. Moving on to the fork area, I upgraded the fork to a RockShox Judy. This is a really great fork. For 100 millimeters of travel, it's about $180, and then it's $40 to put it on. I've had no complaints on it. For upgrading to a nice air fork, it's definitely the cheapest option out there. I also put a nice mud guard there. New grips, Corky grips. I upgraded to hydraulic disc brakes because on the original model, the shifter and the brakes are forged together. So when you upgrade one, you have to upgrade the other. So I bought for $20 Avid UC3s off a guy on Craigslist. It's kind of sketchy and they're not the best, but hydraulic disc brakes, the whole set of them over here too, for $20 in total, you can't really beat it. Real quick, one thing to mention is that all the old parts that I got, I sold used, and that helped me save up for other new parts. So coming down the bike, it's nice and dirty right now. There's a good scuff right there. I have a wire hanging out. It's hung on by zip ties. I haven't been able to, or I don't know how to get it in the frame, but maybe I could get that in later. Coming down more, I got one of the most necessary upgrades. That is the bottle cage. You need one. Now is the big upgrade. This is a drivetrain. You can end up spending like thousands on a drivetrain, but I ended up going with the Microshift Advent X, and so far it's worked really well for me. It's clutched. It's a 1x10. It has huge range. It's a 11 to 48 tooth cassette, so for 10 speeds, that's really great. The shifter is up here. I like it, even though sometimes it's a little hard to shift on it. Like you have to put a lot of force to get it to shift. I ended up going with the Shimano Dior crankset. It works pretty well. I've never dropped the chain with the clutch and then the narrow wide chain ring. But I did have to get up. I did end up having to get a new bottom bracket as well. So overall, this whole drivetrain was one of the best things that happened to my bike. It made it so much more quiet, and the shifting is super nice. Got new race face Chester pedals. Yeah, so overall, I would say if you can buy a bike with hydraulic disc brakes, maybe one by, maybe even an air fork, that is the best way to go. If you're wondering about any upgrades for your bike, just give me a description of what you want, and then I could talk to you about it. I've gotten to know a lot about bikes over the past year that I've been riding, so yeah. Okay, so moving on to my GoPro. I strap it to my chest, and I have Super View and Hyper Smooth on so that it has smooth yet raw footage with you being able to see as much as possible. I usually strap it to my chest, make it as high as possible, and angle it up a bit. The reason I angle it up a bit is so that it looks like this instead of this. The reason I strap it to my chest is that so you guys can get a nice high view while being able to see the bike to person interaction and keeping it looking as gnarly as possible to avoid the Gopro effect as much as possible. The Cobra Effect is the fact that when you have a POV shot with an action camera, it dumbs down the steepness and the size of the trail. The trail I just rode is actually a lot steeper than it looked on the GoPro. Here's me for reference. Yet this shot still has some of the GoPro effect. The chute at the end is about 6 feet down. Here's also my dog for reference. There are so much more different factors to the GoPro effect and how it changes and how you can make it not as bad in your videos. But I might have to save that for another video. Tell me if you'd be interested in the comments below. But anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching, and bye.